Welcome to the Pre Nup, the wedding-obsessed podcast designed to help you plan your dream day. I'm your host, Adriana, and each week I'm joined by the industry's top professionals, celebs, influencers, and friends who are sharing their best tips, advice, and mistakes they've made so you don't have to. The Pre Nup is a Love Stories TV podcast. We are back today with your favorite guest for another wedding movie recap. Welcome back, Big Vic.
Thanks for having me again.
Thanks for coming back.
Great to be here.
Yes, it's great to always have you. So today we are doing 2005's Wedding Crashers.
A family favorite.
An everyone favorite. I mean, it's universally beloved.
Mm-hmm.
In honor of today's episode, bring it in for the real thing. Should we hug? Should we kiss?
An air kiss.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes. So this movie, nothing to say, but this is everyone's favorite. So the standards are really high for today.
Mm-hmm.
And with our wedding movie recaps, we kind of look at it through a more analytical lens in terms of planning a wedding, what is realistic, what's not. But of course, we're going to sprinkle some fun into the episode, as always. So every wedding movie recap, we have to start with a Rotten Tomatoes guess. So can you guess the score?
Okay, I wrote this because, just want to have my guess for critics was 85.
Okay.
Audience was 90.
Okay, so you were off.
Again.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. The tomato meter was 77%. That's the critic. I know. Erroneous in all counts. It's wrong.
I feel like the critics' score is getting more and more ridiculous of all films.
I agree. I mean, I don't even care. I think it's fun to do this, but Rotten Tomatoes is, what does it even mean?
Maybe we can get another,
a better, I wonder what a better critic rating is.
Right, if there's another source.
Gotta be something, because Rotten Tomatoes is dog shit, respectfully.
Yes.
And then the popcorn meter was 70%, which I feel like is
That's shocking.
Off.
I don't know one person that dislikes this film.
It's a perfect film. There are great movies, and then there are perfect movies, and this falls in that category. This, My Best Friend's Wedding, Father of the Bride.
Night at the Roxbury.
Night at the Roxbury.
Also a wedding film.
Technically,
there's a wedding in it.
There is a wedding in it.
And they're planning a wedding, so.
That's true. It's not the plot of the movie, but it is in the movie. So that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So should we get into a little synopsis before we get started?
Go for it.
Okay. So, Wedding Crashers. Best friends and professional divorce mediators, John and Jeremy, have a less than traditional method of picking up women. They crash weddings, masquerading as distant friends/family of the marrying couple, preying on vulnerable single guests to sleep with them, but in a cute and charming sort of way. They become in over their heads when they crash the wedding of a high-powered politico's daughter and become romantically involved with the sisters of the bride. Okay, so again, we're going to look at this movie through a little bit of a wedding lens, things that would happen versus wouldn't happen. And I just want to start with the opening scene, which is an iconic way to start any movie, but we start in mediation. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
It's the best.
So I didn't know how realistic this setting of mediation, divorce mediation was, because I honestly have no reference point for it. I've never been divorced, and any of my friends who have been divorced, I don't really feel comfortable asking about this. But I do have a dear friend, Nicole Noonan, who is a divorce attorney, the divorce fairy godmother. Hopefully you'll never have to meet her on a professional level, but on a social level, she's great. So I called her and I was like, how realistic is that opening scene of Wedding Crashers, the mediation? She was like, it's very realistic.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, she said often people are fighting over the miles. That's very, very common.
Understandable.
It is understandable. It's such a funny thing to fight about, but she said it's super, super common.
It's hilarious.
And she said that in mediation, some states require it before going to court, but she wasn't sure about D.C. because she's a New York City attorney. But if it wasn't required in D.C., the fact that they're mediating, that's a good sign they're settling outside of court. So this is more of an amicable divorce. But what I really loved about this scene is the divorcing couple. They're at odds, fighting over the miles. Vince Vaughn wants to kind of bring them back to why they got married. And he's like, oh, remember your wedding day? Do you have a band? Is it a bad band? Is it a great band? It's like Pizza Baby. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So I want to get your thoughts on this. Does it matter whether it's a good band or a great band? And are you team band?
I am team band. because I had a band. And to me, there's like no better picture than the guy in the dinner jacket with the trumpet.
Sure. You
When
like a horn
everybody's on the
section.
dance floor, I do. That being said, nobody plays it like the DJ. The real songs are usually best.
My premium is part band, part DJ.
Right.
Like that's ideal. But I will say I disagree with Vince Vaughn on this one. I think a bad band can actually really ruin a wedding.
I agree.
So a lot of people are like, no, you need a band for a classy band. I do disagree. If a band is either out of budget or it's just, you can't find one that you resonate with, I would say go DJ on
Right.
it.
And depends on the venue too. Sometimes acoustics aren't great for a band, and like sometimes it's a smaller venue and it'd be best suited for a DJ.
Exactly. Yeah. And, with high ceilings, if we're in a museum
For
or
sure.
somewhere, as you said, the acoustics, it's not always possible to really drown that out with draping or things like that. So DJ does work a little bit better in those scenarios.
Right.
He does say it's like pizza, having a bad band. And we both know that there is such a bad thing as bad pizza
That's for sure.
from Charleston. Nightmare.
I can't even think of it.
Worst, disgusting. That from my bachelorette party. Story for
I
another
think it
time.
was as big as this table.
It was
high.
disgusting.
Yeah.
It was so nasty.
Yeah.
Okay, so little tangent there, but next we get to the introduction of the fact that these two are wedding crashers. So the Jeremy character, which is Vince Vaughn, lets the Owen Wilson character know, John, that they have 17 weddings to crash this upcoming season.
Right.
And while they're not invited guests and they have done this to themselves, I could kind of relate to that. If anyone from the age of like 24 to 40 has that year or years worth
Right.
of like, oh my gosh, I know I capped out. We had 12 weddings one year, and that was, I think, our most in a year.
12.
12.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know?
I don't know like a year count, but I remember it was November of 2019. I
Yeah,
had
that was a big
2
year.
weddings every weekend.
Yeah, that's
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can opt out of them. John was in most of them. My husband, John, was in most of the weddings, which is exhausting too.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot. Yeah, 2019 was a big year. The year I got married, I was also in a few weddings. And the following year, it was like, it was just, you're at
Right.
that age where everyone's starting to do it. And it's very frustrating.
It's exhausting.
So, it's nice to be a crasher where you don't have to really give a gift. No one knows you. And you can just enjoy the fruits of
Right.
the bar and the food. Another thing, speaking of the bar, was Vince Vaughn mentions to Owen Wilson that of the 17, there are 2 cash bars, which I thought was funny that he was even privy to that information, but that is dreaded. Like, what do you think of a cash bar at a wedding?
Unacceptable.
Yeah. So Danielle Elder, who is a phenomenal planner, she's the queen of quiet luxury. She was on the podcast a couple months
Right.
ago, and she said that anything you can do to avoid a cash bar is ideal.
Anything. Yeah.
So even if it's just beer and wine, if you have a smaller selection, but even if you have no alcohol, if you let people know it's a dry wedding, I honestly think that that's better than a cash bar. Like inviting people to an event and making them pay, to me, just is unacceptable.
Agreed. Agreed.
You can't
Right.
do it. But then everyone's going to hate you if they don't even have the option. So it's like, what do? You have
It's
to.
tough call.
I know.
Tough call.
What do you think?
You can't.
You can't have a cash bar
No.
or a dry wedding.
I know there's certain special circumstances.
people are sober.
And I would do anything for the people I love.
Of course.
So if you love
Well,
someone, it doesn't matter. But if it's a work person for John and I have to go, like, I need a
That's
bar.
dreadful.
Thank you.
That's yeah, you have to keep people in mind, their
Right.
sanity.
Right.
Come on.
Mhm.
We need a drink here.
Is there a way politely to let people know ahead of time?
Because
Vince Vaughn was aware. I mean, if I know, maybe BYO. Like,
maybe BYO. Although that, it depends on the kind of event you're having. You
Right.
can't have a black tie wedding BYO.
Right.
You can't have a black tie wedding cash bar.
Right.
If you're having a casual wedding, it's a backyard wedding, you're making your own rules, then screw it all. Like, you can do
Right.
whatever you want.
I'll bring a cooler.
Bring a cooler,
Right.
do whatever you want. But my favorite part of this, he said he was going to evade that with the Purple Hearts.
Hilarious.
So that they could get free drinks anyway at the cash bars, which, you know.
Hysterical.
Controversial, but effective.
Definitely.
So, okay. The wedding montage. We get to the wedding montage.
The
and
best.
There's a series of different cultural events. It's the best scene in the movie and maybe in any movie.
Right.
But there are a few that I want to go through. So, first wedding that we see is a Jewish wedding. And we are masquerading as Lou Epstein and Chuck Schwartz. A real mensch.
Amazing, yes.
Because we're talking about, you know, the cultural elements, what's your favorite part of a Jewish wedding?
I just love the tradition that both of your parents walk you down the aisle. I think it's like the most beautiful thing. I love it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. It's very nice. I know. I feel bad for moms at weddings. I feel like they don't get their due.
Right.
Especially mother of the bride. There's like no special thing for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's so special and so nice. I love a Jewish wedding.
Who doesn't?
They're the best. Yeah.
The Hora, I mean, come on.
Right.
Okay, so next wedding that we see is an Indian wedding. John and Jeremy are masquerading as Sanjay Collins and Chuck Vindaloo, which is so funny that they chose to go Indian for the wedding. They're Indian guests. I thought that it was a missed opportunity to dress in like a traditional.
I would have loved to see them dress the part.
Yeah, me too. But still really funny. My favorite part of an Indian wedding is the barat. Do you know what a barat is?
I don't. I've never had the pleasure of attending an Indian wedding. I know you've had a couple Indian brides.
Yes. So a barat is this parade pre-wedding ceremony for the groom. So it's like this special ode to the groom.
Are they usually riding some sort of animal?
Sometimes they ride in on an elephant or a horse.
Okay,
I had a groom come in on a helicopter. That was
Amazing.
a whole production. Yeah, we had to have the fire department involved, and
wow,
it was something. But it was really cool.
And they're weekend-long celebrations, correct?
Typically, yeah. So you'll have a henna ceremony, and then you'll have, you know, the day of is usually an all-day event. So people have their barat in the morning and then ceremony, and then they'll have a luncheon, and then everyone goes home and comes back for a reception later.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really long day, and there's outfit changes, and they're just fabulous.
I love outfit changes. I think they should be mandatory.
They should be mandatory, or at least requested, suggested.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Next wedding that we see is an Italian wedding. So I'll skip over the Irish because, you know, culturally pretty similar to Italian, maybe a little more drinking. But Italian weddings, I just wanted to touch on because there is something that South Philly Italians do. We are from the greater South Philadelphia area. And I don't think this is something that universal Italians do, or even Italian Americans, but they do it in South Philly. And do you know if it's more widespread?
I don't.
Okay,
I think it's more.
We'll explain what it is. So it's called a serenade. And it's either like the night before or the week of the wedding. And it's basically a block party for all the family and friends where the groom serenades the bride. And people have fun with it. It's not very serious. So I'm sure a lot of people are cringing, but it's like, it's cute. It's fun.
They're fun.
But I want to know where it originated because they don't do it in Italy.
I feel like I remember someone saying something like, you couldn't always have everyone. So, like, everyone in the neighborhood came to the serenade. You didn't necessarily come to the wedding, but everybody, it's like a well-wish for the bride and groom from the neighborhood more.
Okay, cute.
But I don't know if it, like, originated in some small town in Italy.
I wonder where it came from. Or even, you know, there's so many pockets of Italian neighborhoods in Philadelphia that maybe it just started there.
Right.
But it is a cute tradition. I do think it's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more people should do it. Any chance to sing. Don't make us sing. Okay. So the wedding montage. We see that Jeremy and John are going to these weddings. They're the life of the party. They're the stars of the show. They end up really just making the whole things about themselves and then end up courting some ladies to take home with them.
Right.
Gorgeous. The most unrealistic part is not that
Right.
to me. The most unrealistic part is the fact that they are getting seats at every wedding that they go to.
Right.
That would not be possible. There are going to be seating arrangements at 95% of weddings that you
Right.
go to, unless they're super duper casual. Even at the Cleary wedding, at one point, Jeremy says, get us a seat by the bridal party.
Right.
On what planet is that happening?
Right. But I guess in my head,
Yeah.
I pictured it as like maybe they were like, okay, we know we don't have seats. We're aware of this problem. We're going to look for tables that have the least amount of chairs, one that we can, two
Maybe
more need
pull
to be pulled
something
up right
up.
here. They're very official. They could act, Purple Hearts. All they could say is this would be easier for us to sit here. So,
Now you're thinking like a crasher.
yes.
I like that. That's really smart. Okay. Something else unrealistic is through the montages, there's a lot of shot taking. And I think a lot of people don't know and are disappointed to find out that most traditional venues, like a hotel ballroom or, a banquet hall, don't permit shots.
Really?
Yes, most of them don't, especially in certain states, it's not allowed in counties. But I definitely have.
I was not aware of this rule.
Yeah, there are ways to evade
Around it,
Yeah,
right.
of course. You order something neat, and
Right. Because I've been to weddings
some
where
won't
they're
even allow you to
passing
order
shots.
something neat, but there's still another way around it. You order it on the rocks, you order another glass, you take the shot. that way.
Right.
So you can always do it.
Right.
But yeah, many don't permit an actual
Wow.
shot. It's a liability.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But lots of shot taking here. Sorry to burst any bubble. I know that's not like a fun fact, but it is an important
Interesting
fact for
to know,
anyone
yeah.
planning a wedding. Okay, so we get to a point where wedding season is coming to a close. It's the best season of the year. It's better than Christmas. And there's one more that Jeremy really wants to attend, and it's Secretary Cleary's daughter's wedding. John is resistant. He's like, going to be Secret Service now. But Jeremy convinces him. They attend the wedding.
Right.
And one of the things that Jeremy says to try to entice him, he's like, there's going to be snacks, finger foods, hors d'oeuvres.
Great scene.
It just reminded me of us because that's really all we're concerned about when we're guests
Right.
at a wedding together. And I mean, you've never seen someone have an hors d'oeuvre like Big Vic at a wedding.
I felt exactly like
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn in that film. Like
Yeah.
everything he was saying, like I'm going hard at the cocktail hour.
Yeah.
That's where
That's
right.
where you thrive.
Exactly. And I
I've
can't be
never seen
bothered
you
with a
eat
plate
a
of dinner.
dinner.
I
No,
don't.
I've never seen you eat a
Once
dinner.
I start dancing, I'm not going to sit back down.
You should start telling people when you RSVP, like, no
Don't
need for
worry
a
about it.
dinner
But my
for me.
husband does like 2 dinners.
Okay, that's
so
fair.
we usually do pick the opposite if it's like choice.
But everyone knows that the plated dinner pales in comparison to
Exactly.
the hors d'oeuvres. So you
So you
should
get
fill
hard.
up on the hors d'oeuvre.
Need your strength, your protein.
Of course,
Right.
a pick and a blanket is going to get you there.
Right.
What's your hors d'oeuvre of choice?
I love to see a raw bar, especially at a wedding like the Cleary wedding here. Beautiful. Like
Sure.
on the water, you want to sit like ice tower, you
Uh-huh.
want to see everything. That being said, it is difficult. I use all shellfish as a vehicle for horseradish, and that's difficult in a dress with my cocktail. So I'm going, like Vince Vaughn said, easy finger foods.
Yeah.
Something I can throw in my mouth, the bacon wrapped scallop. I do like a shrimp cocktail.
Yes.
Again, you need your protein to dance.
My only issue with a bacon wrapped scallop is that the bacon's never crispy enough.
Right. I have removed it.
Sure. Oh,
So you get the flavor.
it's a
and
must.
you just, yeah.
Yeah, a fatty piece of bacon, it's not for
Gross.
me.
Some people like it.
People love it.
Not me.
Not me. Nope. Not
Burn
me.
the bacon.
Not her.
Burn the bacon here.
Burn it. Yeah. Burn it. Okay. Very realistic scene. So we get to the ceremony of the Cleary wedding, and there is a wager on which reading will take place. Is it going to be Corinthians 1 or Colossians 13? Which are there other readings at a Catholic Mass? Like that's it. That's all you get.
Right. I've heard, you hear a couple
Yeah.
other ones. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite?
No, I don't like readings at ceremony. I'm one of those people who really is looking for ceremony to be done with. I like
Right.
it short, sweet. I like
They're boring.
the
They're boring,
couples
right.
to exchange vows, and that's it. Let's get on with it. Not to say that there aren't beautiful romantic ceremonies and great ways to do them, but
Right.
we got to get Aunt Sue up there do a reading, and it's like
I do think it's a nice way to include people, though.
it is.
Because I just had, my sisters. I
Yeah.
didn't do a big bridal party. So,
Right.
people that I wanted as part of my wedding, I did a Catholic mass.
Well, that's different because you have to have the readings
Right.
anyway. It's part of the mass.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're doing a non-denominational ceremony, great reason to nix
Oh, yeah,
the
for
readings
sure.
and any nonsensical. Like
Right.
a 2-minute ceremony, gorgeous.
That's what you're looking for, yeah.
It's what I'm looking for
Right.
personally. Okay, so on the topic of a Catholic ceremony, we get to the vows. So is it Christina and Craig? Is that what her name is? Is
Yes.
it Christina?
Mhm.
So Christina and Craig decide to do their own vows, and they're all dedicated to sailing. Vow to be
Hilarious.
your first mate, whatever.
And
Great
my
scene.
captain.
It's
So
a great
good.
scene, but it is very unrealistic in terms of being a Catholic ceremony.
Right. You don't write your own vows for a Catholic mass ever, right?
You're not permitted to. Catholics are very strict and rude.
With the strangest things,
like
too.
the strangest, like it's okay to, all right, I'm going to refrain because I don't want to upset daddy, but you can do certain things that are illegal to children. But I guess I
Not
already
funny at all.
said too much.
Yeah.
But, you can't say your own vows in a mass.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It's not right.
Right. But I feel like if you made some large contribution, you could probably do anything you wanted.
You could do anything you want in the Catholic Church if you make a large contribution.
Right.
That's a fact. That's
Yeah.
a rule.
Mm-hmm.
But now's a good opportunity for me. And I think this is a Catholic mass just because there's a priest. So that's my only
Right.
reference. I would say it was Christian, but there is a priest, which is notoriously something Catholic. I had a Catholic mass, and any opportunity I get to speak ill of my pastor, Father Gill, is
Right.
a great day for me. So this man was crazy.
You didn't care for him.
No. So
He made things difficult. He wasn't easy about anything. It was
dick. He was the nastiest little man.
Right.
He was so miserable. He was so weird. You know who he reminded me of?
Who?
Frollo from Hunchback.
Oh, wow.
Dark.
Very,
Dark. Yeah.
very dark.
You know what? I don't care. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but
Listen, maybe it'll get back to him somehow and he won't treat everyone this way anymore.
No. Guess what I just heard?
What?
So I was just talking with a couple who was married at the same church I was, and I said, "Oh, how was it?" And they were like, "Well, it's a beautiful church, but the priest." I was like, "Was it Father Grill?" And they were like, "Yeah." He didn't allow them to have their first kiss in mass. He said they're done with that. They don't do that anymore.
What?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of anything so crazy?
No.
No. And listen, I'm just teasing here. I've been to so many beautiful Catholic masses and ceremonies, and they're wonderful. This specific man, if you know, you know. Like, he is a wild
Wow.
man.
I
There are
would have just
wonderful,
done it
amazing
anyway.
priests. They're not all child rapists. Some of them are wonderful men. But
Oh, God, it's
I know.
to hear makes me
If you
sick.
don't laugh, you cry. It's easy for me to say.
Right.
Yeah. Let's move past
Yeah.
that. Okay. I also wanted to point out that Craig is Lucy Camden's husband from Seventh Heaven.
I'm so glad you pointed that out. And did you want to give us a quick verse of the Seventh Heaven theme
Oh
song?
my God, I don't like my song.
Little one, just
no.
You sure?
Nobody wants that. Seventh Heaven.
There you go.
That's
That's
it.
enough.
That's
perfect.
It's
Thank
done.
you.
It's over.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to reception.
Okay.
Reception is at the inn at Perry Cabin in St. Michael's, Maryland, which is a beautiful venue. You can actually get married there. It's so picturesque. You can see from the movie that it is.
This is your
obviously.
dream wedding location, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You always said that.
To me, this is prime elegance. This is the perfect location for a wedding. This is
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day. They shot it. It's beautiful.
It's lightning in a bottle. If you can have an outdoor wedding and have this kind of weather and this kind of view, it's phenomenal. But yeah, I think a tented wedding on an estate, nothing beats it. It's
Nothing.
It's so beautiful. But I did want to just point out that you can actually get married there because it's a great place. And if you've ever watched Wedding Crashers and you're like, oh, I want a wedding like that, you can have it.
Yeah.
You can have it. Okay. So at all the weddings, John and Jeremy are really there to they're there to sleep with women, but they charm their way through the whole thing. So they make friends with the kids, and they're making balloon animals, and they're dancing with the flower girl.
That's
and
the
old
best. They have like
ladies.
different approaches to coax women. Guess who has a haunted past? I'm broken man. It's the best. It's so funny. Haunted past. Yeah.
Lost a lot of good men out there.
Playing for the Yankees. It's so funny.
So one of the things they do, as mentioned, is making balloon animals for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid at the Cleary wedding, the Make
He's
Me a
fresh.
Bicycle Clown kid, particularly fresh, like a
Right.
really nasty kid. And it got me thinking, very realistic of children.
Mm-hmm.
You never know how a child's going to behave at a wedding.
don't.
Usually rude. Like, kids are rude.
They are.
You know, they don't have
Mhm.
a filter. And I know a lot of people disagree with this. I get in fights with people online all the time.
Right.
Kids don't have a place at weddings,
No,
in my
they don't.
opinion.
No.
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
On all fronts?
On all fronts, with the exception of our niece, who really was from very young, an old soul.
Yeah.
She picked her dress for my wedding. She danced the entire night. Didn't give anybody lip, anybody a problem. She was a little older for your wedding,
Yeah.
but the ultimate hype girl, the
Yeah.
best bridesmaid.
Okay, so I guess it's fair to say you have to know the kid.
Right.
Like, and really be honest with yourself. Do they want to be there? Are they going to need
Most
attention?
of them don't want to be there.
If they don't need attention, they're like a self-sufficient, easy kid. Yeah, bring them. Who cares? Whatever. They can hang. They can
Right.
last. But if not, leave them home. Everyone will have a better time.
Everyone.
Especially the parent.
Right.
No one wants to babysit your kid. And the reason I don't like kids or dogs at weddings, although I did recently have someone kind of change my mind on the dog thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was this?
Her name is Veronica. I can never say her name right. Sligigan. But she owns a company called Perfect for You. And she basically is a dog handler for weddings specifically.
so she just goes and accompanies the dog, like the dogs plus one.
Not only the dogs plus one, but she does everything for the dog. And she's really there for the logistics of the dog, getting it there, getting it home, getting it down the aisle, cocktail
Groomed
hour,
for the day.
greetings, photos. Exactly. Feeding,
Wow.
whatever. So, the freaks who are emotionally attached to their dogs, sorry, I know that's literally everyone but me. So I guess I'm the freak. But yeah, if you can't not be with your dog for 4 seconds, even though your dog probably doesn't want to be at your wedding,
Right.
you can have Veronica there. And people definitely disagree with me. I'm in the minority for this. I
Right.
know that. And that's fine. That's fine. We can all agree to disagree. Please don't come for my throat. Yeah, but I think it's selfish to bring children to a wedding because
agree.
it's just not a place for them. Would you bring them to a bar where people are serving alcohol and getting rowdy? Like, that's essentially what it is. It's an
Right.
adult party. And there's nothing for them.
children
so just,
to do. Right.
just leave them. So yeah, that's how I feel. Okay, next we see John get introduced to Claire, which is the Rachel McAdams character, who, I mean,
It's just so beautiful.
it's hard to look at directly. But Claire is bringing gifts to the gift table. All are physical. And John does this little thing where he's guessing them and he
Right.
guesses right.
Sterling silver fondue set.
I'm sorry. So the fact that all the gifts are physical, I would say that this is definitely more of a...
It's not an Italian wedding.
It's
that's for
not
sure.
an Italian wedding. It's not a New York, New Jersey wedding. It's all cash all the time. That's it.
Right.
But I recently polled the Pre Nup audience and I said, like, how many of you would feel comfortable giving a cash gift? 96% said only cash gift. There's no other option.
Yes.
So I feel like maybe people are coming around. It's not right. Don't bring a physical gift to a wedding. Then people have to lug it out with all the other stuff. And
Cash only.
cash is king.
Cash is king.
Cash is king. But I will say, pro tip, give a check so that you can ensure that the gift was received. You know if someone cashes
Right.
the check. And if you are a person getting married and someone has not given you an envelope or a gift, I don't think it's okay to ask them if they've given a gift.
I've had several people ask.
Have you not given many gifts?
Totally accidental.
Okay.
It would just be like, I forgot to grab the card.
Sure.
And I'm not even kidding. It's one of our friends called us the next morning, like 8 a.m. and was like, don't see your gift here. I was like, oh my, that's because I have it in my hand.
Sure.
It's coming right away. Sorry.
Yes.
Like,
yes. I mean,
people know.
yeah.
I
people
know
are
I do for the
ruthless.
people who didn't give me gifts.
I do still have my spreadsheet, I'm not going to lie. And I
Same.
reference it when I go to weddings. And
Me too.
and I do account for inflation. So people are not getting exactly what they
Same.
got,
Right.
gave me. Yeah, I don't think it's okay to ask people because etiquette says you have a year to give a wedding gift.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, I don't think it's in great taste, but it is what it is.
If I don't do it immediately, I'll forget. And sometimes I forget immediately. So,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Okay, so we go through the wedding. We see, Vince Vaughn courts Gloria, who is the crazy redheaded sister. I'd find you.
The stunning Isla Fisher.
Isla Fisher,
Beautiful.
stunning.
Right.
The way Vince Vaughn dances at weddings is what I think I look like. In my head.
You fucking wish.
I
The moves on this
please,
man.
we both know I'm a phenomenal dancer.
The moves.
I know he's
The lift,
gorgeous.
The lift. He's so, Vince Vaughn in Swingers, most handsome man that's ever walked this planet.
Yeah, I've never seen Swingers.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah,
He's extremely good looking. It's
Okay.
young Vince Vaughn in his
Yeah,
prime. He's
yeah.
so handsome.
he's gorgeous.
He's still
now,
handsome, but
yeah.
he's so handsome.
I know.
in that movie.
Okay, would you rather be with if you weren't married? Because I know we get in
Right.
trouble with our husbands. God forbid we call anyone hot. Would you rather be with if you weren't married, Vince Vaughn or Owen Wilson?
I am more of a Vince Vaughn girl.
Me too.
But I love Owen Wilson.
My
yes.
mother-in-law has a big crush on Owen Wilson.
Which makes me laugh because
Her husband is the opposite.
does not look anything like, right, yeah.
Yeah, they don't look anything alike.
I would
but
say Dave's more of Vince Vaughn
I would say he's more of a Vince Vaughn
than an Owen Wilson.
for sure.
I think the Wilson brothers, Owen and Luke, are very
To
handsome.
me, Luke is the superior.
There's something about Owen Wilson now.
Oh, he's
I
has
love
swagger for days, but if we're
yeah.
just looking at them, I'm going to
Right.
prefer Luke. I don't like blonde men.
I agree with that statement, but there's
I don't
things.
like any men but Jake.
That's so nice of you.
Yeah.
But I like when a man has like a ruggedness to his face, and I love that big broken nose of
Yeah,
his.
me too. Me too.
You
Oh
look
my god,
like a man.
I
Yeah.
love a crooked nose. Oh, so cute. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to wedding things. The decor at the wedding was
Beautiful.
really beautiful. The only thing I will say is that the head table was definitely a sign of the times.
Yes.
The drapery, we don't see a ton of estate tables that are one-sided now, looking on to the audience. Even if people are going to do a head table with bridal party, usually it's going to be
it reminded me very much of our wedding singer,
yes,
like the
yes,
80s head table.
Sure. And this movie is 2005, so it's not. It's a long time ago.
not
It's
the
almost
80s.
20 years. It's
Right.
not the 80s, but yeah, I definitely think in the early 2000s people were still doing that. The Wedding Crashers, whatever. I can't speak because I'm not a human being. They had a wedding planner on site to reference all like
makes
the
sense.
decor and that stuff, and
Right.
it worked. I thought everything, as far as
And I think from a filming perspective, it was probably easiest to do that head table that way.
for sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get to the speeches.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so this was very realistic. Claire is giving the maid of honor speech,
Mm-hmm.
and she does a little trial on Owen Wilson, and he's like, "You can't do this. This
Yeah,
is
crickets."
You'll hear
And
crickets."
He was right.
Because she's making jokes about the vanity of the couple, and
right.
it's a little bit in poor taste. And he makes a good point. He's like, the joke only works if it's a small thing, like.
Everyone knows Jennifer likes to shop.
Ha ha. And it's true. It does only work when it's a
Right.
small thing. I was talking with a guest about this recently. Jake, my husband, when his best friend got married, he wanted to tell the story of John shitting his pants, the groom,
Right.
at the wedding. And I was like, it's time and place. It's something for the rehearsal dinner. You don't do it there. Speeches are meant to be short and sweet. If they exceed 2 minutes, you've gone on too long.
Right.
If you have more to say, write it in a note. No one wants to hear your inside jokes. No one wants a roast of the couple. There are
Right.
people from all different corners of their life. So it needs to be about them in some way. You can slightly connect yourself, but
I want to laugh. I want to cry. 2 minutes tops.
cracks. And there's
Right.
no way around it.
Right.
Unfortunately, Claire doesn't take the advice. She gets up, she starts to bomb, but then she pivots, takes Owen Wilson's advice.
Saves herself.
What's the quote?
the soul's recognition of
True
its
love.
counterpoint in another.
Yeah.
True love. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which is, I don't get it,
Me
but love it.
Sure.
Okay. So now we get to a point where the boys have somehow finagled their way to the Cleary estate, which is a beautiful place to be. But it just got my wheels turning on like a wedding weekend in general.
Right.
And this isn't in the traditional aspect because it seems a little less planned. It's post-wedding and more intimate family setting. But they do a little football tournament.
Oh, that whole weekend is exactly how I imagine political wealth.
Oh, yeah.
Weird, quirky, the gorgeous buffet breakfast.
Quail hunting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Speaking of the buffet breakfast, there's a gorgeous spread next day. What are your thoughts on a post-wedding brunch?
I think it's a nice option to have, like if you're at a hotel.
Yeah.
And I don't think the bride and groom should have to attend. I don't think anyone should have
Yeah.
to attend. Be like, there's breakfast downstairs for everyone.
It's there if you want it,
Thank
but it's
you.
not
Right.
required. Yeah. I think it's weird if the bride and groom don't attend because it's just a little bit rude to the guests, especially if everyone's traveling. I think if you're traveling somewhere, it's almost required to, not
Makes
for the
sense.
guests to attend, but to offer and for the bride and groom to be there.
Okay. I mean, understandable.
I think if anyone is traveling anywhere for a wedding, there needs to be other activities than just the wedding ceremony and reception.
I agree. But optional event. Like,
Optional for people, of course. Yeah, you
Right.
don't have to come, but there are other activations. You're coming all this way.
Right.
We're going to feed you. We're going to give you beverages. The
Yes.
Okay. Now we get to Vince Vaughn confiding in the priest. So we're skipping over a lot of the movie, but again, this is through the lens of like a wedding planning eye. So the reason I bring this up is Vince Vaughn realizes that Gloria has been lying about being a virgin. She's actually like a freak and he's into it. But he's telling the priest this. He offers
The
a
family
confession.
priest,
The
right.
family priest. And it got me wondering, does every Catholic family just have a priest who hangs around? Because we do.
We do. Shout out to Monsignor Tracy
Tracy.
and the late Father O'Mara.
Oh, Father O'Mara was
Controversial.
he?
There was a couple incidents. Not that he did anything bad, just when we were bad kids, he would yell.
What,
you
did
know.
he hit us?
No, God, no. He would do the mass, though, at every reunion.
Yeah.
When we would do the
Yeah,
reunions,
family
the big
reunion.
parties, and I remember we all got in trouble for talking during mass at one time. We were all appalled. We shouldn't have been talking during
Yeah, we were being
mass.
bad. Like,
Right.
What
Yes.
did we expect? Yeah, but it is funny. And there are a lot of instances. I know we're so obsessed with Sopranos right now because
So
we're
glad you brought Sopranos up. I'm new to Sopranos, and Father Incantola is their family priest, who's hilarious, always eating all their food.
So
and-
funny.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing really resonates with people. In Wedding Crashers, Sopranos,
Yeah.
having that family priest around, it's comforting. If you're a Catholic girly, especially an Italian, I mean, they're not. This is a political family, but an Irish Catholic family
Right.
typically is going to have a priest just hanging around, eating the
course.
food, drinking the drink.
Exactly.
And priests always have like a gorgeous home too.
Right.
Unlimited alcohol, beautiful
Well, they
home.
don't take a vow of poverty. No.
Nuns do.
Right.
Priests don't. Priests can party.
Right.
My priest likes to party all the time.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let's just go through a little recap of the end so we can get back into wedding things.
Okay.
The boys are found out. The priest outs them, I think.
Right. Zach looks into them.
Oh, this is another thing I wanted to bring up. Zach is Claire's fiance.
Bradley Cooper.
His name is Sack with an S, not Zach with a Z.
I thought it's Zach, and they call him Sack.
They exclusively refer to him as Sack.
I thought that's like his nickname. Maybe. But doesn't, when she introduces him that first time at the wedding, when Claire introduces to Owen Wilson, doesn't she say, "This is my boyfriend, Zach"?
No,
And then
she
they-
says Sack.
She does say Sack?
Sack.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, What is Sack? Have you ever heard this? Maybe
I
it's a
feel like
last
it's
name?
a nickname.
Gotta
No,
be.
it's not his last name, because when they're all sitting at the table and Christopher Walken says, when the Clearys and like when you two marry, and he gives the name and he's like, two great American families
Sure,
unite.
sure.
There's a thing. And it wasn't Sack or anything of that. I forget his real name.
Yeah, but I thought that was very strange.
It is
Sad.
strange.
Bradley Cooper was phenomenal in this, by the way.
Incredible.
He was
When
really
they
great.
are like stretching on the front lawn for the football game and he's like, has his legs flipped over and hilarious.
He's so good in this that's how I think he is in real life.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I think he's a little bit of a...
He's so young in this too.
I know.
He's a baby.
He's so... Everyone is so young and cute in this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep going with that.
They're found out.
They're found out. Obviously, they're thrown out of the house. They resume their normal lives. Jeremy keeps seeing Gloria behind John's back.
Right.
He gets upset. Jeremy and Gloria get engaged. Claire and Sack have an engagement party. John crashes, gets his ass kicked by Sack yet again. And that is kind of the demise of Jeremy and John's relationship at the time because Jeremy left John high and dry so that he could be with Gloria. Jeremy asks John to be his best man at the wedding. John says no, calls him hillbilly, white trash.
A hilarious scene.
Yeah. But then he meets Chaz Reinhold, who is the father of modern wedding crashing.
Right.
And he...
My personal favorite Will Ferrell role.
Is it?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really?
It's short, but I could watch a spinoff on him of Chaz.
Yeah. You know, they wanted Will Ferrell to play John, the Owen Wilson character.
That would have been no good.
It would have been no good.
No,
it would have
he
been
is
weird.
Chaz.
They're both too big, Vince Vaughn and Will Ferrell. It's like too much of a presence. Yeah, he's a perfect Chaz. So John and Chaz start crashing funerals, and it's there that John realizes that he wants true love. He sees a weeping widow, and he's like, I gotta figure out a way to win Claire back. He crashes Jeremy and Gloria's wedding, professes his love. The four of them ride away in a getaway car, which, you know, for movie sake and plot, I get it, but we're just gonna leave post-ceremony and not even attend the reception?
Right.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. So that's the movie, and those are the highlights of wedding things. Couple things that I want to shout out. I want to go through the known rules of wedding crashing that are listed through the movie. So number one is never leave a fellow crasher behind.
Very important and should be the first.
Absolutely. Do you have the rules handy?
I do.
Do you want to take the next?
I'll do, they give number 6, do not sit in the corner and sulk. It draws attention to you in a negative way. Draw attention to yourself, but on your own terms.
Right. And that's true of anything, really. You know, draw attention to yourself on your own terms.
Right.
Don't sit in the corner and sulk.
Right.
Especially at a wedding.
Yes.
Good advice. Okay, number 32. You never commit to a family member unless you're absolutely positive they have a pulse.
This is so important.
So important. The brother of Aunt Liz. Yeah.
We've become very spiritual. Good save on his part, but I have sent an invitation.
To a dead person?
Yeah.
No, you didn't?
It wasn't my fault.
Who?
It was somebody in John's family. We both have large families. Trying to cut this guest list. There was people.
I take it you didn't attend the funeral.
No, there was somebody his dad insisted on inviting, and we got the RSVP back. Like, this person is deceased.
I want to make a point right here because. Parents, a lot of times they insist, certain person be invited. If you don't know a person's dead, you're not close enough with them to invite them to the wedding.
Exactly.
They should not be there.
Right.
You need to talk to a person like every 3 months for them to be a wedding guest.
Yes.
Okay. Take the next one.
Number 16, have an up-to-date family tree, which we just...
It just kind of reinforces the last rule. Number 76, no excuses, play like a champion.
The best of all the rules,
and
in
applies
my opinion.
in all facets of life. That's the beauty.
Right.
And
the last one they give is rule number 115, never walk away from a crasher in a funny jacket.
So true. So true.
Right.
Oh, gosh. Beautiful. Right. Okay. Let's get to most quotable lines. These are mine. I don't know if you have others.
I have a couple that are my personal favorite that I could touch on, but you start.
I already mentioned you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. So many Wedding Crasher quotes are just built into our lexicon now, and I think, and this is true of everyone, not just you and I. New motorboat and son of a bitch. Like, that's...
Crab cakes and football.
That's what Marilyn does.
Right.
Yeah. Bring it in for the real thing. That's... I think that's originated Wedding Crashers. because I'd find you. That's very quotable. I'll pop out at the right moment. Todd, we need to give a shout out to Todd.
The best.
Because we didn't speak about him in terms of wedding references. He doesn't have a great place other than his suit is so ill-fitted. It's so funny.
Right.
His hair.
Poor posture, his hair, the scarf, everything. Iconic role for Todd.
So I'll pop out at the right moment is something everyone knows and loves, but my personal favorite of Todd is there's nothing terrifying about the night.
It's hilarious.
When Secretary Cleary says, Todd has these night terrors, and then Todd comes in with that. It's just, it's classic to me.
Mm-hmm.
The painting was a gift. Todd, I'm taking it with me. Todd really adds a lot of flavor to this movie.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
And we can all relate to having someone, not like Todd, but like that there's somebody in the family a little off. In ours, it's you. I'm just kidding. I'm just a small joke.
So
but like that, it's relatable for
Yeah.
people like to have
Sure.
somebody who's a little off in your family.
There's someone who's a little much, even if it's not your direct family. Like there's a guest who it's like, oh, crap.
Exactly.
Like here comes
Mhm.
Todd. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and then just a soundtrack shout out because the music is really good in this movie.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't give you a chance to say your quotes.
My personal favorite is "There is no room for error." Secret Service consequences. And
I don't know
what is
why
my
it's so
other
funny.
favorite?
I guess it's the voice. And
When Gloria is throwing that tantrum to get
Yeah.
them to come, and Jeremy's like, "Look at her! Like, are you serious?" And get off your high horse. Stop judging people like as if she's doing nothing
love you to
wrong.
come.
I'm not going to give in to this kind of behavior. It's a hilarious scene.
I know, he treats her like she's a 5-year-old.
Right.
It's so funny.
It's me and my son.
Yeah.
Comical. Like,
Yeah. And it will be for all time. Maybe that'll be you and Joey.
Right.
Any other quotes that you wanted to mention?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The movie soundtrack is great. We obviously
So
have
good.
Shout, the Shout montage. Like, you can't go to a wedding and not have Shout. It's so
Right.
good. Keep It Comin' Love, Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Incredible.
Forgive me,
Right.
Father, for I have sinned. That is
One of the greatest songs of our time.
so
Right.
good. Sparks, Coldplay. We actually heard that this morning.
I
getting
know, it's so
coffee.
good.
The scene where Claire and John are both tiptoeing down the hallway to try
Right.
to see each other. I thought that the speed at which those two fell for each other was
Quick.
a little fast.
But it was like love at first sight, though. When he first saw her, he was like,
True.
I choose you.
Well, who wouldn't? It's Rachel
Right.
McAdams. Come
Right.
on. I mean,
She's beautiful.
she's gorgeous. And then in the summertime, Mungo
The
Jerry.
best.
Yeah, when they're
The
riding the
best.
bicycles.
Mhm.
Super, super cute.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, a real wedding planner was kept on site to make sure the wedding looked real. And I think more movies could benefit from that. I thought that the aspects of weddings in this movie were very spot on. And
And that being said, my sister will offer her services if needed on a film set.
I will absolutely. I would
Right.
love. I would love to watch something. Put
Right.
a little cap on.
Right. Have a chair with your name on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you yell? What is the director?
Cut. I'm
Cut
kidding.
is to cut. But what did you say to go?
Action.
Action. Are you okay? No, I think I'm stroking. I'm so sorry. Okay, and then last thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if anyone cares about this, but I thought it was really interesting. The church that was used was not a Catholic church.
Really?
Yeah, even though I think it was meant to in the movie be a Catholic ceremony.
It looks
was
like a cathedral.
It was the Church of Pilgrims in D.C., so it's probably like Episcopalian or something.
Okay.
But it was, I don't know if the entire movie was based around DC or this specific church was, but it was actually filmed there so that John McCain could be there, the late John McCain.
Really?
Yes.
That's
And you
funny.
see him, he's shaking hands
Right.
with Secretary Cleary
Right.
after ceremony. Yeah. So
That's really funny.
yeah, I thought it was really funny.
Mhm.
Vic, anything to add about Wedding Crashers?
No. Perfect
No?
film.
Nothing?
Just that it's a perfect film. If you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing. Go watch it immediately.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to mention. So I don't know if you guys know, I'm really cheap. You know, but I'm
Right.
very cheap. And Wedding Crashers is available on Sling TV if you have it. I don't. I have very few streaming services. I use some of yours. I
Right,
have,
sure.
maybe one of my own, but I don't like to pay for things. So I was very upset to find that this wasn't
readily
on
available to you.
any
right?
of the ones that I had. So I did have to rent it for a whopping $3.79 on Amazon Prime, which was the cheaper option than YouTube, which was $3.99. So if you want to
wow.
save yourself 20 cents, put that toward the wedding budget.
Every little penny helps.
But every penny helps. You know that.
Right.
But I do think it's really fun to watch before your wedding, leading up to your wedding.
Right.
It's just a feel-good film. It's good to watch at any point, but for our brides listening, pop it on and give a smile. We love to see it. It's
So
a great
good.
movie. If you've seen it before, I don't think that you necessarily have to watch it if you want to follow along with this recap, but it's always good to watch.
Always.
Yeah.
Such a good one.
Where does it fall in line for you in terms of top
It's one of my
wedding movies?
top wedding movies.
Uh-huh.
I would say it's top 5.
But where?
I'm going to go. So, wedding singer. I'm going to go 4th
Okay,
in
that's
the
fair.
top 5.
That's
yes.
fair.
Mhm.
Yeah. What's number 1?
My best friend's wedding
Of course.
is my favorite movie.
Sorry. If you
Mhm.
don't like My Best Friend's Wedding.
Get the fuck out of here.
Thank you so much for saying that. All right, Vic, that's it for our Wedding Crashers recap. Thank you so much for being here, you lovely
Thank you
gal.
for having me.
Thank you. All right. Well, we will catch you next time with another wedding movie recap. I don't want to. Should we just commit to it?
Yes, because
okay.
then we
All right.
never will.
Yeah.
What
All right.
should we do?
So next, I think Father of the Bride. We're due for Father of the Bride.
We are.
The original, not the Netflix new
Right, it's
which I
time.
haven't seen yet, but eventually I'll watch it. So Steve Martin, Father of the Bride. It is available on, it's either Prime or HBO because I just watched it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what we'll do next.
I'm excited. Such a good one.
Signing out, Vic, anything to say to our brides? Any words of wisdom before you go?
Best of luck. Goes quick.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vic, for the sage advice.
Welcome. Here to help.
All right. Catch you.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Thanks for tuning into the Pre Nup. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform or on the Love Stories TV YouTube channel. Follow at _pre_nup and at Love Stories TV on Instagram for more. Have feedback or suggestions for the next episode? Feel free to reach out to us at podcasts@lovestoriestv.com.